Welcome back, family. Welcome back to Nala's Journey. Welcome back, family. As of this point, we're over, my goodness, 358 family members. Thanks to all of you. Guys, don't stop. Let's keep on going. As you view our videos and you like the content, you like the vibe, smash that like button. I appreciate you guys. I do. We're on the road to 500. We're on the rise to 500. I'm so excited. Thank you. Guys, today we're going to talk about International Women's Day because it's so significant. There's some really eye-opening things that women went through over the years, particularly here in the U.S. I'm going to focus on the U.S. with this, okay? But listen, drop me a comment about your personal experiences, perhaps yours or your mom's or your grandma's, so forth. But there's some really eye-opening facts about the things that women fought for over the years. Listen, women have struggled for the right to not only vote, which is a major thing. We have the right to vote, thanks to countless women that came before us, that stood up, that spoke up and said, yes, we want to vote. We should vote. We have the right to vote. Thank you to all those women that came before us. My goodness. So in addition to voting, which is, of course, a major thing that affects us all around the world, okay, but particularly here in the U.S., voting was a major accomplishment for women. It was. I thank God for those women who spoke up for the right to vote. I thank God for that. Listen, not only were women speaking up about the right to vote, they were also speaking up about my passion. Guys, you know my passion is traveling. Did you know at once upon a time here in the U.S., okay, women did not have the freedom to travel as they wanted. Women didn't even have their own passport at one point in time. Google that thing and check it out, okay? Listen, at one point in time, let's say up to like the 1920s or so, okay, women, their name wouldn't even appear on a passport. They didn't have their own passport. You know what? Married women showed up on their husband's passport, okay? That's right, guys. Married women showed up on their husband's passport, okay? Wife too, not her name. It said something like wife too. My goodness. You know, Mr. Smith and his wife, for example. The woman's name, the wife's name didn't show up on the passport up until like the 1920s or so. Google that thing. Check that out. My goodness. But thank goodness for the women that spoke up for the right for women to travel as freely as men did. Thank goodness for them, for those women. Thank goodness, thank God for those women. So, my God, women fought for the right to vote. They fought for the right to travel as they wished, as they desired. I think it's only fair. And I appreciate all the women that came before me that spoke up for their rights, that, my God, that had the inner strength to speak up in those times. I thank God for all those women. My good, where would we be without those women? Where would we be? Listen, and you know what? You know, over the years, women have fought and fought and fought for equal rights, for compassion, for consideration in the workforce. They spoke up against child labor. Yes, they did. They spoke up from the very beginning. Okay, yes, they did. For being paid appropriately. Absolutely, as fairly as possible. Women spoke up. That's what International Women's Day is about. It's about the women speaking up for what they feel is right. Thank goodness the women spoke up. I'm so grateful today. Not only today, but you know what? Every day I'm grateful for the rights that I have, for the privileges that I enjoy. I am so grateful because once upon a time, and it wasn't too long ago, it was like in the 1920s up to about the 1930s, a woman could not travel freely. And you know, traveling is my passion, guys. I couldn't live in those times. I couldn't survive in those times. I couldn't, because I love traveling so much. But thank goodness for the women that spoke up for the right to travel. Thank goodness for the women that spoke up for the right to vote, for the women that spoke up saying that they should be paid fairly in the workforce. Thank goodness. Thank goodness that they spoke up for child labor. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Thank goodness they spoke up for their right to control their own body. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. My Lord, where would we be? Where would we be if the women many years ago didn't speak up for the rights? Where would we be today? So I'm grateful. I'm excited. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling inspired by all the women that came before me that spoke up for women's rights. I feel inspired each and every day, not just this day, International Women's Day, but I feel inspired each and every day. I feel inspired. I feel empowered. I do. Now, also, at one point in time, a woman couldn't be the one to speak up and say that she wanted a divorce. But thank God that that evolved over the years. Thank God that a woman has the right to speak up and say, this is what I want. I want a divorce. Could you imagine what the women's life was like? Could you imagine that the abuse, physical and emotional abuse, that countless women endured prior to having the right to seek a divorce? Could you imagine how many women? I can't even fathom the amount of pain and suffering that women went through. But I thank goodness for all the women that spoke up for their rights. The rights. Thank goodness that women spoke up. Thank goodness women spoke up for the right to equal credit. At a point in time, women were being denied credit, largely because they were a woman. Thank goodness the women spoke up for equal credit. Because of those women, today, every woman has the right to apply for a loan, to be reviewed for a loan, and to be approved equally. Thank goodness for the women who came before us. Thank goodness. Now, a simple thing like using the bathroom, having male and female bathrooms, women spoke up about that. It was women that got the right to have a separate bathroom for women. Thank goodness the woman spoke up. I'm grateful. I'm feeling grateful and humbled by that. We even had to speak up to have our own bathroom at work. Thank goodness they spoke up. They spoke up about birth control. Thank God they spoke up. Thank God they did. A woman should have the right to control their own bodies. Thank goodness the women spoke up. Thank goodness they did. Listen, now this is a very delicate topic. You know, throughout time, unfortunately, women have not only been physically abused in the normal sense and emotionally abused, but they've been sexually abused. Thank goodness they spoke up to refuse their husbands. Thank goodness they did. A woman should not have to be forced into sexual intimacy. A woman should not have to be forced. It should be a mutual pleasure. It should be. Women had to speak up about going into the military. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted the right. They were skilled. They didn't just want to work as nurses, but thank goodness the women spoke up and they gained the right to enter the military. They spoke up about boxing, their interest in boxing, and wanting to enter the Olympics. They spoke up about that, and they gained that right to enter the Olympics in the boxing events. Women spoke up, and eventually they earned that privilege of entering the Olympics in the boxing events. So you know what? I'm so grateful. I am so grateful, guys, that there are countless women that spoke up for women's rights, that has given us today so many privileges. I'm so grateful, guys. I am. I really am. So to every woman out there, every woman, happy International Women's Day. Never forget your rights. Never forget your privileges. Also, always remember the women that came before us and fought for our rights. The rights to vote, for example. The rights to equal employment. Absolutely never forget that, guys. There are countless rights. There are countless rights that women spoke up about that we now have the privilege and we enjoy today. Happy International Women's Day, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next video.